Welcome to Bibble-IT's first Lync video. I've tried to record these videos in one go as much as possible, so they might come off as a little bit off the cuff, so to speak. I hope you'll forgive any mistakes I might make as we go along, and if you spot any, feel free to drop me a comment on the website just to set the record straight. So what we're going to be looking at in this series is upgrading from OCS 2007 R2 to a Lync 2010 server, and today we're going to be covering part one, which is preparation. The environments that we're going to be talking about are fairly standard, fairly straightforward. They're just two standard edition servers, so an OCS 2007 and a Lync 2010 standard edition server. We don't have any external access, enterprise voice or PSTN integration, just to keep everything nice and simple. And in today's video, we're going to be having a look at the servers and the clients that we're going to be using through the series. We're going to be covering the schema and Active Directory preparation that's necessary. We're going to be installing the first components on our Lync server and installing the topology builder. So sit back and enjoy, and let me know what you think at the end. Cheers. Okay, so here we have our machines. We've got a Windows 7 machine here logged in as test user 2, running the Lync client, and we've got a machine here, another Windows 7 running under the account test user. You can see, if I have a quick look in sign-in details, that we're currently set to automatic configuration, which means if I try and sign in, it goes away, does a DNS lookup, and logs in. And you can see here I can message backwards and forwards between my two users, and everything seems to be looking happy in OCS land at the moment. So the other servers that we've got our DC here, which is doing DNS for us, which is where are we? Which is where our auto sign-on is coming. We've got this SIP underscore SIP internal TLS record, which is pointing our clients to sip.bibblenet.com. And if we have a look up here, if we go down, we've got SIP here, which is 192.168.1.31, which is the IP address of our OCS server. So that brings me to the next one, OCS. It's a standard edition 2007 R2 machine. It's been patched with the latest update roll-ups, which means that we can install Lync and have it be compatible without too many issues. And you can see we don't have any other information here. We don't have any enterprise pools or archiving, monitoring, or edge servers. And then the last server that we're going to be working with is our Lync server. I should say actually that the OCS server was Windows 2008, not R2, and our Lync server is Windows 2008 R2 64-bit, as it has to be because it's R2. This has been fresh installs, joined to the domain, and that's the only thing that we've done so far. Right, on the Lync server, there's a few bits of prep that I've done. Under features, you can see I've installed the Active Directory remote admin tools, and I've also installed the .NET framework. To do that, all you'd need to do is come to Add Features, choose .NET, and then down the list we've got our remote server admin tools and here, our Active Directory tools. So just cancel out of that, and then we should have the Lync CD in the drive, and we're going to run setup here with admin rights. The other thing I've done is my user account in here is a member of domain admins, enterprise admins, and schema admins, which should let me extend the Active Directory schema. So we're going to run setup. It's tried to figure out what components or what bits it's already detected. Prepare AD, we go in here and it's telling us that we need to first of all do the prepare the schema. So we're going to run this wizard. Click Next, and it should go through and do that for us. Obviously, when you're updating the schema, it's quite important to make sure you take a backup of the system state from one of your domain controllers. The recovery process for a messed up schema upgrade is unfortunately quite nasty. You need to bring one DC back online in Active Directory restore mode, mark it as authoritative, and then demote and re-promote all of your domain controllers on the domain. So, best to run this in a lab environment if you can. Having said that, these days it is fairly rare for things to go horribly wrong when you're extending the schema. I think there was a particularly nasty one back with Exchange 2000 when you put on the Server 2003 schema attributes. They overwrote some of the bits and pieces in Exchange, but I think since then there's been quite a lot of care making sure that everything's compatible. Okay, so we've got our summary here. Everything's run through, it's completed correctly, so we're going to finish that. Now, normally you would need to go and run repl-mon or repadmin and check up that your Active Directory is replicated correctly. Because I'm just running this in a lab, I've got 3 DCs actually, but they're all set to replicate immediately, so I'm just going to plow ahead. And we now run the forest prep. We're going to prep our local domain, and again, it just goes ahead and does it for you. Completed. If you want to, at any of these stages, you can view the log. You get this little warning in IE. You just need to click on that, allow the content, and then you can expand stuff down, and you can see exactly what steps it's done, and if they've worked or not, and what error messages there were, if anything went wrong. So we're going to finish that. Again, we would normally have to make sure that everything's replicated around, but I'm going to skip straight on to do prepare current domain. Generally here, you want to wait 10 to 20 minutes, possibly even half an hour, depending on how your replication's set around your domain. So we're going to run domain prep. Again, we don't really need to give it any options. It just goes ahead and does it for us. And then we've got 2 more steps at the bottom. Again, verify that the domain replication has occurred properly. And then step 7 here, it's telling us that there's a new group, CS Administrator. That's what controls access to the Lync Systems Management Console, or the website that manages Lync. So we need to make sure we put some users in there so that we can admin the server. So we'll just hop onto our DC, go to our users, and if we just search for CS, you'll see we've got a whole bunch of user accounts, groups, here now, and we want to put this user in as a server admin, user admin, and a CS administrator. Done. Now that's finished, we're going to go back, and you can see here we've now completed all of our Active Directory prep. Now, because this is going to be our first standard edition server, we're going to choose this option on the right here and step through this wizard. So what do we need to do? We need to be logged in as a member of the admin group. Yep. We haven't deployed our first server, and we haven't deployed any Enterprise Edition servers for Lync. So this is going to run through and create the configuration storage server, which is where Lync will store all of its information. OCS used to store that in Active Directory, whereas Lync now stores some information in Active Directory, but most of it is stored inside a SQL database. So just pause this now while it runs through and does the installation. And we're done. Next, we need our topology builder installing. The topology builder is what you use to set up all the things like your enterprise pools and your standard edition servers, which massively simplifies everything when you come to actually do the deployment. So that brings us to the end of part 1, which is the preparation. If you stick around very soon, there'll be part 2 coming up on the same site. If you've got this far through the video, why not drop me a comment, let me know what you think, and hopefully see you next time. Thank you very much.